Are you tired of the hybrid meta? Do you want to just dunk on some Tamers? Do you want to play things out of your trash for free? Well, I think I got the deck for you. Let's talk about it. What's up, Tamers? Welcome back to the other decks. My name's Casual Dobo, and sorry for the different camera angle. I'm actually participating in my first ever webcam tournament, first big Digimon tournament ever. Yes, that's right, I'm going from Casual Adobo to Sweaty Adobo, like that. But no, I need to set up my camera, which I've never done. I don't have a traditional webcam, so I had to move a bunch of things. So apologies for the wonkiness. It's very clear that I angled that camera and set dress everything for a specific reason. But I did want to cover another BT8 deck profile. This time we're going to be covering Mastemon, just because it has another starter deck coming out. And we covered the other starter deck that's coming out with it, Imperialdramon, in last week's video, which you can check right up here. But no, I think Mastemon is a super fun deck that utilizes a lot of those new Jogress mechanics while also kind of dunking on the previous BT7 meta, because there is quite a bit of Tamer hate in this, so it should be kind of fun to play around. And just as a kind of warning, the deck profile that I'm going to show you that's going to be on the screen is expensive. That's right, we're running Lucemons. However, I will give you some substitutes for the BT4 Yellow Lucemon as well as the Magna Angemon in there, because I think there are some substitutes. That said, it's not going to be quite budget because I do think that the Chaos Mode Lucemon is extremely vital in this deck. So I'm going to leave it in there. Even though it is a secret rare, I think last time I saw it was hovering around the $20 to $30 range, so rough, but not that rough. So yeah, I could probably call this my budget, but not so budget because Chaos Mode is so good Mastemon deck profile. Maybe we'll do that for the title. But if you're enjoying this video and enjoying this sort of preview into BT8 before it comes out to all the English territories in May, please give the video a like, and while you're down there, let me know what deck profile you would like to see next. And if you're enjoying the content as a whole, consider subscribing to the channel. We're growing at a pretty awesome rate, to be honest. I think as of recording this, we just hit 560 subscribers, which is absolutely wild. So thank you everyone for your continued support. It means a lot to me. But with all that out of the way, let's just hop into the deck profile. Alright, and here we are at the deck profile. Like I said, things are a little wonky, so I'm probably not going to be looking in the right direction, so apologies for that. But some things that do stay consistent. We're going to start off with our Digitama, and we have 4 copies of Nyaromon. I hope I pronounced that right. This has the inheritable that when attacking, if you have a yellow Digimon in play, draw 1. So because we are using the Jogress Mastemon starter deck as the basis for this, this is a very good baby Digimon to have. It allows us to draw cards without having to have our Digimon deleted. And I did slightly misread that. It is draw 1, trash 1. So classic purple effect. And I didn't put a 5th Digitama in here, but I probably should have, because you're probably going to want to Digivolve off of a couple things. So I would say, as a 5th Digitama, feel free to put in Demi-Meramon, who is just overall very good. Next up, going into the rookies, we do have 3 copies of Gazimon. This is the memory blocker Gazimon, so opponent can't gain any memory except from effects. Next up, we have 4 copies of Tsukaimon. On play, reveal top 3, and then add 1 Angel, Archangel, or Fallen Angel from his traits, and add to your hand, and then bot deck the rest. So this is a really powerful searcher that we can put onto the field, and allows us to go into sort of our Gatomon Digivolutions, which really the aim of this is to get into our Gatomons and then go into our Ultimates, and then finally Jogress into Mastemon. Next up, high price alert, we got 1 copy of Lucemon. This is an expensive card, but it is expensive kind of for a reason. While you have 10 or more cards in trash, when playing this card from your hand, you can reduce the cost by 8, so that would make it a god, what is math? So that would make this a 5 cost to play. But to be honest, I haven't seen anyone actually just drop a Lucemon. Normally they cheat it out of the trash, which there's a bunch of ways that you can do this in this deck. But on play, recovery +1, and then on all turns, it can only digivolve into things with Lucemon in its name. So I mentioned that I would have a substitute, and I would say if you wanted to, as a cheap alternative, put in a Bushiagumon. I think Bushiagumon, especially in a Mastemon deck where you're going to be recurring things, especially a level 3 from your trash, Bushiagumon is a solid one because it does have Rush. Sure, you don't get the recovery +1, and obviously if you're going with some of the cheaper options and replacing those cards I talked about, you're not going to have as much recovery. But I would substitute it for things that have Rush or just have a little bit more utility. Next up for our level 4s, do have 4 copies of Salamon, and this is from the starter deck. It can digivolve off of purple or yellow, so it can go off our Niaramon. And then on the end of our turn, we can DNA digivolve this Digimon and another Digimon into something that can by paying its DNA digivolution cost. Moving on to our champions, we have 4 copies of Black Gatomon. So this does have Rush, and then as an inheritable, it does have Retaliation. But the beautiful thing about this is that it is both a purple and a yellow, and can digivolve off of either color on our rookies. Moving on, we have 2 copies of Promo Gatomon. So on our opponent's turn, if we have a purple Digimon in play, which, as you can see, there's a lot of, this gains Blocker, and then on play, if we have 3 or fewer security, we get to trigger Recovery 1. So this is good because it has extra utility, it can be returned by our Mastemons. It's overall a pretty solid card. And if you know a little bit about the Mastemon starter deck, you do know that there is an inheritable that says that our yellow Digimon have Retaliation. So there's a potential here where this Gatomon can have Blocker and Retaliation at the same time, which is pretty solid. Moving on, we have 4 copies of Gatomon, and this is from the starter deck. On play, reveal top 3, then add a purple and add 1 yellow Digimon from among them to your hand, then bot deck the rest. So this is a fantastic searcher and kind of like a must-have for any of these Jogress, purple yellow decks. It's just very good. And then it has a second ability on your turn. When this Digimon digivolves into something with Archangel or Fallen Angel in its type, reduce the digivolution cost by 2. So that is going to affect our Androwomons and Lady Devimons. And I believe it also affects Magna Angemon. Yes, it does. Cool. And then this inheritable is the same as the Salamon inheritable, where at the end of our turn, we can DNA digivolve, essentially. Honestly, a lot better on the Gatomon than on the Salamon, because when we're digivolving into our ultimate, if we do have another ultimate on the field, we can DNA digivolve even though we are passing turn. So yeah, starter deck Gatomon, very, very good. Moving on to the ultimates, do have 2 copies of BT3 Lady Devimon. This has the when digivolving trigger draw 2, trash 2. So absolutely fantastic for getting cards out of our hands that we don't want and we would rather see them in trash, and also getting to some of the cards that we'd like to see. Then it also has a powerful inheritable that on your turn, once per turn, if you use an option card, delete one of your opponent's level 3s. And next up for our ultimates, do have 2 copies of Lucemon Chaos Mode. So this is the one kind of pretty expensive card that I would say is pretty necessary for this deck. So what's it do? This can essentially digivolve off of Lucemon for 7 from our hand, ignoring the other digivolution requirements. And then for every 10 cards in our trash, reduce the memory cost to play it by 3. But like I said, with Lucemon, with Chaos Mode, you're almost never playing, Lucemon Chaos Mode from hand. But it does have powerful abilities on play / when digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Tamers or level 6 or lower Digimon. So that is a pretty wide range of things that Lucemon can destroy. And this is sort of where that Tamer hate comes in, because you can delete one of your opponent's Tamers with this effect. Having the flexibility to choose either or is pretty powerful. And like I said, and you'll see it later, there are definitely plenty of ways to cheat Lucemon out of trash and kind of recycle and recur Lucemon. Moving on, we do have 2 copies of starter deck Lady Devimon. So when digivolving, we can search for an Angel, Archangel, or Fallen Angel from top 3, add 1 yellow and 1 purple, and then return the rest to the bottom of our deck. So definitely an interesting twist on that particular search mechanic. And then this actually has the inheritable that I was talking about earlier, that all of our Digimon, our yellow Digimon, gain Retaliation. Moving on to our yellow ultimates, do have 2 copies of Magna Angemon. on play, recovery +1. Then it has an inheritable that says, your turn, this Digimon gets plus 1000 for every 3 security cards you have. To be honest, I've never really seen anyone use it, but if you have it, you have it. But no, this is a powerful on-play Digimon, obviously, and then it kind of goes into your Mastemon Jogresses pretty easily. That said, people are onto Magna Angemon. They've been onto Magna Angemon for a while, ever since, the security control days, which wasn't that long ago. So, kind of expensive. But if you're looking for a more budget option, I would actually take a look at BT8 Kyukimon. So this is an ultimate Digimon, digivolves for 3, but is purple and yellow. And the reason I say that is because we do have 2 sources of the inheritable. End of turn, you can Jogress, right? There are some scenarios in which you might just have Lady Devimons in hands and no yellow, ultimates. Kyukimon kind of solves that issue by being really flexible. Yes, it doesn't have any when digivolving abilities. In fact, it doesn't have any abilities. But I think that flexibility of being able to Jogress when you normally couldn't Jogress because of what you drew or because of your hand composition is pretty powerful. So yeah, I would consider Kyukimon for this spot if you're looking to get something more budget. Obviously, it hasn't released yet, so we don't know what the prices of the cards are going to be, but it's a common card, so it should be good. But that's enough of Magna Angemon / substitute for Magna Angemon. Moving on to our last ultimate, do have 4 copies of the starter deck Angelwomon. So on play, one of our opponent's Digimon gets security attack -2 until the end of our opponent's next turn. And then, while you have a purple Digimon in play, this Digimon gains security attack +1. So overall, just very solid. And remember that our Angelwomons, our Magna Angemons, our Lady Devimons, they all get reduced Digivolution costs if you're Digivolving it off of the Gatomon. So these are potentially Digivolving for 1, which is pretty sweet. And then moving on to our level 6s, we got 1 copy of the OG Mastemon. When digivolving, trash 1 card from the top of both the player's security stacks, then play 1 purple or yellow Digimon card with a level of 4 or lower from trash without paying the memory cost. So a couple different targets. If you have it in trash, the Lucemon is a great target. If you're going for the budget option, Bushiagumon. Or if you want to go for that blocker retaliation play, say you're digivolving this off of, the starter deck Lady Devimon, go ahead, grab that promo Gatomon. Blocker retaliation can stall long enough to give you an extra turn, or force your opponent to destroy it somehow. But yeah, OG Mastemon still sees some play, but in reality, the Mastemon we want to see is the starter deck Mastemon. So it does digivolve off purple or yellow for 5, but the beauty of this is really DNA digivolving it for 0. Then when digivolving, we can place a purple or yellow Digimon card from our trash to the top of our security stack face down. Then if this was Jogress, which from most of these scenarios you do want to Jogress into this, you can look at your security stack and then play a level 5 or lower Digimon card without paying its memory costs. Then shuffle your security stack. So level 5, there's plenty of targets, but really we're looking for our Lucemon Chaos mode. So yeah, if Lucemon Chaos mode is in our trash, we Jogress into Mastemon, put the Chaos mode into our security, and then play it, deleting whatever is the most problematic thing on our opponent's board. But that's not all. On all turns, when you play another Digimon by an effect, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a level less than or equal to the played Digimon. So yeah, through this play alone, you can delete 2 things. Either 2 really high-powered Digimon, a Digimon and a problematic Tamer. But yeah, this is just a very, very solid card. And then rounding our Digimon, we do have 2 copies of Omnimon Sword. So when digivolving, trash top 3, then we can play up to 2 black or purple Digimon cards that have a play cost of 8 or less. So we can't get our Lucemon Chaos mode this way, but we can get our other ultimates. Then when attacking, you can return a level 6 from the sources of Zwart to delete one of our opponent's unsuspended Digimon that has a play cost of 12 or less. Alright, moving on to our options, we do have 2 copies of Dead or Alive. Play a purple level 5 Digimon card from our trash without paying the memory cost. And then if there are 10 or more cards in trash, we can play one Lucemon without paying the memory cost. And that's primarily to say, oh, you can play the yellow Lucemon if you have 10 or more. But yeah, you can essentially treat this as a Gaia Force, essentially, because of Lucemon. And it's a Gaia Force that can target a Tamer, which is pretty cool. Rounding out the options, do have 2 copies of Chaos Degrade. So this is from the starter deck. Main ability, place one of our opponent's Digimon at the top or bottom of their security stack face down. And then if we did this, trash the top card of our opponent's security stack. Now this is a yellow-purple, so you do need both colors to be represented on the field. But honestly, kind of easy in this deck. And then security effect, we can place one of our opponent's Digimon at the top or bottom of their security stack face down. Overall, very, very good option. And then finally, going into our Tamers, we have 3 copies of Matt Ishida. Is a memory Tamer, so if we have 2 or less, we go to 3. And then on play, return 1 purple Digimon card or purple option card from our trash to our hand. And yes, we can target Chaos Degrade because it is a purple option. And then I have 2 copies of TK and Kari. So I like this because at start of your turn, if you have fewer security cards than your opponent, you gain 2 memory. So it kind of deters your opponent from doing chip shots throughout the match, and kind of forces them to choose when to go into your security, you know? It forces your opponent to essentially make some decisions on when they attack and when they don't. And then we're not really playing it for the second ability, but on your turn, when one of your yellow Digimon attacks, you can suspend it to give something minus 1000. We're not really playing a whole lot with, reduce DP effects, but it is nice to sort of have in the back pocket. But yeah, that is my purple-yellow Mastemon deck. Would love to know what you think down below in the comments. Do you think that the more expensive pieces of this, the Lucemon, Magna Andromon, Chaos Mode, are they extremely vital to this? Or can you play a more budget version of this and still find a lot of success? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more Digimon content. And wish me luck in the Ultimate Cup, because it's first tournament. We'll see how we do. Bringing something slightly sweaty, but also a little slightly spicy, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. And Tamers, remember, build what you like, play what you love. And I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one.